Okay, so this is something that just kind of like clicked for me today, and I just figured I'm going to share it now that it's here, now that it's fresh. One thing I never want to be is a gatekeeper. And so as I learn things, I'm going to put it out to whoever wants to take the chance on believing whether or not Peter's being serious when he says that this is valid to learn. And I think 100% this is going to benefit you if you just apply it however you need to in your life. Okay, so I have struggled a lot with believing that my experience, my life, is valuable enough for Jesus to use. And I have fought really hard to get to the point where I'm at right now, to the point where I still believe that Jesus isn't the enemy, right? That he is there to protect me, that he did come to save my soul. Like I've fought really hard to get to this point where I'm at, to where, you know, it's like pretty much to make that true. And if that's something that you are struggling with, like the enemy is really trying to convince you that that's not the case, maybe this will help you, you know? And if that's not one of the struggles you've been going through, maybe this is not a video for you. Although I'm not saying to scroll on, just take what you need out of this and leave the rest. It'll be very beneficial for you, though, to open yourself up to the point where there's no judgment coming from you. And this is for your sake, okay? Not for my sake. I don't care if you judge me or not. Open your heart up, your mind. Open up to the possibilities of anything can be anything. And everything that I think I know is might just not be what it is, okay? So, under the premise that there is something to fight against, right? That there is an enemy that is coming against you that is outside of you. Under that premise, you have to be able to separate everything into two, okay? And those two things, because what has been separated into two, as I said, is everything. So that means all that is presented to you and all that is, all that is presented to you externally and all that is presented to you internally. So that would be the first division, you would think. But I'm telling you that the very first division is whether it is good or bad. All right, another way you might say it is right or wrong. My ass don't know how to spell. Okay, now the reason why there's a difference is because as you move along, ooh, that rhymed, wrong, along. As you go on, that rhymed too, holy shit. Your perspective is what changes. You as a person is what changes. And like when shit really starts hitting the fan is when what once was over here in this might switch over to here. But that doesn't mean that everything that is now over here or was once over here needs to be over here. Okay? It just means that that one thing needs to be flipped over. For example, let's say when you first started out, one thing that you felt was good was following your heart. Okay? Following, oh my gosh, okay. Following heart. And one thing that was bad was following world or society. I don't know how to spell society, so don't judge me. Society. Whatever. Okay. And let's say there's a whole list of other stuff here, and there's a whole list of other stuff here. But this is that one thing under question that at some point it gets flipped. You've been walking with Jesus for a long time, right? And so far what has gotten you to the point where you're at, let's say it's been following your heart, right? You're just, whatever felt right in the moment. Boom, 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 you go. What do you do though whenever, and following the world or society, you just innately kind of understood? Hell no. But now you get to a point where following your heart means to do this. Okay? It doesn't mean that because one thing had to be shifted, it doesn't mean that everything that was once over here is now over here. This is what it means. You have to make space somewhere. Okay? Where those things can fit. So, following heart, by you following your heart, meant following something over here. Following society, okay? Now this is all happening internally, okay? It's two contradictory beliefs or ideas, okay? At the moment, in the very moment that you first see it, they seem like they cannot exist in the same world. But it's really hard for you to let go of the one or the other. And remember, this is my own experience. I'm using examples from my own experience. But you can apply this to anywhere in your life. Whenever that happens, psychology calls that cognitive dissonance. And this is going to be any point in your life where you feel like you have to make a choice. And some of you, there's going to be a rare few of you who are just going to be stubborn enough to go with, no, I won't decide. This must be true and this must be true. I demand that they both become true. This video is for you specifically. You have to create a space where they both can be true at the same time. This is where you create. You find a place within you. You have to make a room, a place where they can both exist together. Where the venue can happen. And that's what this is right here. And there's a couple reasons why I put it right here in the middle of this, okay? So it's in the middle of the board, but it's going to represent the center, the core of who you are, right? That's where it goes into. And it's also going to go on the thing that represents the boundary. Okay, this line right here originally represented where the bad ends and where the good ends. Okay? Or vice versa, where the good ends and the bad ends. Make sense? Go back a couple seconds and rewatch that so you can fully understand what I'm telling you. At that point, on that border, that's where that room will be built. It's not telling you that's where you must build it. I'm not saying that's where you should build it. I'm telling you, if you insist that two contradictory ideas, contradictory to you, the way you perceive them, must be true at the same time, if you stick with it long enough, that's what will end up happening. You will create a space for them two to come together where they can live their paradise. And that's you. That's where you created. And understand that that's you following Jesus in a very, very deep way. Okay? So if you have doubts that you can be used by Jesus, and these doubts are coming from this place of you know, what other people have told you. There's this pastor that once said this. There's this, you know, your parents said this, and so how can this be true? Like, there has to be a point, bro, where you fucking grow up, where you decide, look, I don't give a fuck what that man says, and I don't give a fuck what that man says. What I got to say is valid too. I believe this, and I am allowed to believe this. I am valid for believing this, but you got to stand on business. Anything that comes against it, internally and externally, you got to be ready to stand your ground and defend it. And just be ready to go through the hell that it's going to take to claim that land, because it's yours. You created it. But you got to earn it. You got to let other entities in the world know that you are big enough to defend this land, and that they better think twice before coming against it. And that's just that. But it starts up here first. If you can beat it in here, trust me. It doesn't matter if what comes against you in the external kills you. It is yours regardless. Okay? Take the story of Jesus, for example. He said that he will destroy the temple and in 3 days rebuild it. And everyone thought he was talking about a building. He wasn't talking about the building. What he destroyed and rebuilt in 3 days, that's how we come to the conclusion that he was referring to his body. His body was the temple where he resided. Now, anyone who follows him must follow that pattern. And before I close, look, again, like I said in the beginning of this video, you can disagree. Like I said in the beginning of the video, open your heart, open your mind, but just do not judge. Because the judgment that you pass on to me is simply going to be put on you. Do you understand that? Like, it's very important that you either look at this video with an open heart and you're just like, oh, okay, interesting. I kind of disagree, but maybe he's right, whatever, and move on. That's where you're the safest. But if you, just do whatever you like. Matter of fact, just do whatever you like, and we'll let God judge, like, at the end result, what's what, you know? But not just with this video, though. Let me just tell you the advice that I'm giving you about not judging. Do that everywhere where you go. Just don't judge nothing. Don't judge anything until you are grown enough to be able to judge. But by then, God would have taught you how to judge properly. If you made it this far into this video, I would highly recommend you subscribe or like or whatever the hell you got to do to make sure that you get notified every time I post again. I'm not going to be posting every day, but if you've gotten this far, you kind of fuck with what I'm saying. And if you kind of fuck with what I'm saying, you're going to want to hear what comes next. Okay? Just stay tuned.